Day 3 begins with, well, let's just say my Hitler gland is fully swollen. Here's the thing, Brat's taken a chunk out of my empire to the southwest, but as we established yesterday, I didn't really want it. To the north, Lee and I have a ceasefire, don't want to break that, I've got no drillers there for a start. To the south, Nels and I have a ceasefire, and to the north, Matt has taken a ton of submarines towards me. I want a full-bore war with one of these players. Both Matt and Nels are threats to my first place position. Nels, because he's churning out Neptunium. Matt, because he has more subs than, I don't know, no human should have that many submarines. I'm praying I wake up this morning and Matt has done something dickish so I can launch approximately 1 billion submarines at his territory, which is weird. My thinking right now is, if I want to go to war with Matt, why not just do it? And the answer is, I don't know. It's very weird. It would feel wrong. And here's the thing. To do well in Subterfuge, to optimize your plays, you end up staring at it so much. And thinking about it, I realized I was afraid to launch a war in which I'm the bad guy. Dragging 200 drillers into Matt's borders across 48 hours would be a kind of miserable gaming experience, but defending myself against a villain, then I would enjoy the game more somehow. I'd be able to apply myself to getting his neighbors to attack him and deploy my specialists cleverly. Basically, at this point, I'm managing a resource that isn't time or drillers or Neptunium. I'm managing my personal human energy. So come on, Matt, do something rude. Oh, fuck it, let's go full Hitler. The deal's off. I'm not going to turn off shields. I'm not going to send my drillers away. Matt's ships are going to thud into my base. There's going to be a fight, and it's up to him if he wants to push for control of this factory or not. Here's the nuts, though. My queen's about to get a hire, and I'm going to get a lieutenant. He's fast. A lieutenant's drillers are fast, and he can take a fast boat up north to where Matt's queen is, rocketing there faster than he can reinforce it. And here's what's interesting. That place is dangerous because it has 30 shields, the benefit of Matt's queen. But on my boat is an assassin, and if the queen or his engineer are there when my forces arrive, the assassin is going to carve them up Assassin's Creed style. She'll drop on them from the highest point in their undersea base, and there'll be an undersea eagle noise. So he's going to have to retreat them, leaving the place now with only 10 shields, which will then be taken down by my infiltrator. Basically, it's like a game of The Lost Vikings or Commandos or Monaco or whatever you've played. And it's the most exciting, dangerous play I've made all game. I've got like an A-team of specialists who are all going to do an awesome job. It's not an exaggeration to say I go to bed feeling like a kid on his birthday. The game's getting to me. It's really bad, but I'm in first place. I'm being evil, and it feels so good.
So today, I feel like I'm feeling pretty chill, you know? I haven't kidnapped anybody. I haven't seriously assaulted any of my friends. And, yeah, I mean, things are still stressful as hell, don't get me wrong. But, I just don't care.
So the attack against Quinn's has gone surprisingly well. Both Joe and I have taken maybe 3 outposts between us so far, and really we haven't had to do very much for it at all. We every time we attack an outpost, Quinn's pulls his drillers back, and he just wasn't ready for any of this to happen. I think Matt may well have been telling the truth after all, because Quinn's is definitely having to deal with something else on the other side of his territory, and we're just doing really well because of it. So that's good.
Quinn's, unsurprisingly, either didn't want to keep to our agreement or didn't understand it, and so that's going to be a big problem. The deal was, I was going to go in, I was going to take this factory, but then I was going to leave. I was going to take the factory, and then I was going to take everything away and just keep the factory. And then anything made at that factory, I was just going to send away. Just go, don't stay there, go somewhere else. And he didn't. He didn't do that. He sent more things to defend the factory, and he didn't switch the shields off like I'd asked him to, and he left a few ships there, and this may have just been a misunderstanding. But the thing is, with negotiations, especially hostage negotiations, the devil's in the details. And when I say turn the shields off, remove all of the ships, and then I'll go away without a fight, I mean all of the ships, I mean all of the shields. And because he left a few dregs there, it means I'm gonna thwomp him. Because that's how hostage negotiations work. Don't stick to the rules. Sorry.
The Nice Alliance family has grown. We've invited Pip to the group. That happened because, I accidentally attacked her. I know that sounds like bullshit, but I did accidentally...
There was a bit of an incident when Bratters accidentally invaded me.
I planned to attack her purposefully and then changed my mind but forgot to cancel the order. That's the accidental bit.
Well, he said it was an accident, and I do believe him, but it was one of those things where I suddenly thought, oh no, am I going to be punished for believing this guy so early on in the game? And he'd sent something to where I was, and you can't send a sub sort of back when it's already on a path. You can't call it back.
And she obviously wasn't that cool with me suddenly sending all these drillers towards one of her factories, but messaged me saying, dude, what's going on? And we worked it out so that she would remove her drillers from the factory and I'd take it and then leave straight away so she could take it back. Which is lovely, but really, if I was playing against anyone else, if I was playing against people that I didn't know, and that happened, you just keep the factory, right? Because I'd claimed a really useful outpost.
He agreed to get to my outpost and then turn back, and I could have it back. And I was really nervous. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but it actually worked out. So I felt like me and Bratters were friends.
I shouldn't have given it back, but I did. And as a result, she is now part of the Nice Alliance. However, there are now 2 Nice Alliances, because I'm not 100% sure that Matt has our best interests in heart. And just because eventually, we're going to have to betray someone, I've kept these two groups separate. Screbbles is in both of them, because I think I can count on Screbbles, but if we need to maybe attack Pip later on, or maybe attack Matt later on, we can do that without looking like we've betrayed an alliance. So, yeah. And there's another Nice Alliance on top of that as well. Nell's reached out, also worried about Quinn's perhaps winning the game. And now he's working with us in a separate Nice Alliance. This is getting really out of hand. So there are 3 groups. All 3 have me and Joe Screbbles in them. And then there's the one with Matt, the one with Pips, and the one with Nell's. That's too many alliances, really, isn't it? We'll try and work it out. But I think this is actually not a bad play at all. Hopefully they don't talk to each other too much.
Lee is a big problem, and I think that what's happened is the exact same thing that I did the day before, of telling everyone else, Quinn's is really weak, you should go and attack Quinn's from the other side. He's probably just spent the whole day going, Matt's really weak, you should attack Matt from the other side, which means I've got Paul amassing a small force on one of my borders, which I'm not comfortable about, and Lee just straight out sending tons of stuff and going, oh, I don't see what the deal is, I tried to be reasonable. And she sent quite a substantial force to both the factory and the outpost. And this looks to me like a war party. I tried to say, look, you can't amass an army in a factory next to my base. You just can't do that. You can have this area, you can have it, you just can't put an army there. She didn't listen, so I'm gonna have to fight her as well. Fine. I think they're both hoping that I'm not gonna be able to fight a war on 2 fronts. When I am able to fight a war on 2 fronts. It might not be terribly productive or useful for me, but by George, I can do it. I don't know what the deal is with Lee, but I suspect that she might just want Quinn's to shut up and stop being stressed. It's not going to work, but I can see why she might be doing that. Hey, it's a nice day. I'm going to go for a walk.
Hello, Joe here. It's day 3 of Subterfuge, a day in which I've done very little except become more paranoid. I'm currently in a campsite. As such, I have very little phone signal, which raises an interesting point about the structure of Subterfuge, because I've been out of contact all day, and whenever I've had a flash of 3 to 4G internet, I suddenly get 60 notifications about how terrifying everything is and how I'm being left behind in the game, and getting messages from people going, oh, do you think we should ally? And I've missed them, so presumably alienated everyone in the game. Actually, literally, as I'm recording this, I've just got a message from another player saying, Matt is out of control. So this is worrying. But yeah, Matt's been camped out in the north of my region, and the campsite we've turned up to is called Lee's North, which only adds to my abject terror. I'm fairly sure he's watching me and renaming signs. So yeah, this is the interesting thing about Subterfuge, is if you're out of contact, suddenly everything relies on your ability to have queued everything in advance. you have to be a genius strategist, which is kind of amazing because firstly, I'm not. And secondly, I'm sort of forced into an interestingly isolationist foreign policy. I just have to not help anyone and hope that doesn't make any of them angry.
Hello, my name is Paul and I've been playing Subterfuge. Or sort of playing Subterfuge. I imagine everyone else wonders what I'm doing right now.
Speaking of enemies, Paul, who's been intermittently just sending me messages about how everyone else are shits, queued up, I think 7 different attacks on one of my factories, which makes for a beautiful image on the map. Like lovely little scrawl of death. But he hasn't really taken into account that all of those things take 24 hours to get there, and by the time they do, my factory's beefed up and I can repel every attack.
Joe and Chris just probably if I think of Joe and Chris in my eyes, in my mind's eye, or in my eyes, if there's like a tier of fruit, they're some of the softer fruit. And so they might be the fruit to bite into. If I have any plans, it's for that. Harder fruits include, Matt's probably an orange, Lee might be an apple. I sent Pip a message, he didn't reply. So I don't know what fruit that is. My phone and my iPad have been going off constantly, and because I'm playing this game sometimes in my Canadian bed, this is happening late at night, and it's like just having someone just constantly tap on your window at night, trying to get your attention, and especially in these early stages of the games where I don't know if the other players will be telling you this, but it's mostly just dialogue. Like there's some stuff happening, but it's so much bravado and talking. It's just so much talking. Have you ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross? What I feel like is I'm now in the film or the play of Glengarry Glen Ross, and I'm Kevin Spacey, and I'm sort of going, and everyone else is Jack Lemmon, and they're just saying, would you please do this? Would you please do this thing for me? I just need you to do this thing because it'll help so much. It'll really help us. And I've got like 6 other people doing this to me now all the time. Okay, I am shoring up defenses. I've sort of been a bit diplomatic with sort of just making everyone think I'm not a threat, partly because I'm kind of not, because I've got a couple of directions I could push out in, but if I seem less of a problem, then that deflects things to other people, and I actually find that a bit less stressful.
I woke up the next day in Vancouver worried some terrifying number of subs would be rocketing towards my evil empire. Some force of mats that I hadn't factored in that would thud into my attack like a harpoon skewering it. It wasn't to be. I woke up, had a delightfully playful conversation with Matt, and we had a war on. I was attacking Matt, Paul was attacking Lee, Lee was attacking Paul. I quickly wrote to Pip, trying to persuade her to attack Matt. I'll tell you what, living in the fear before anyone attacks you is horrible. But a good war, with all of your subs assigned to do the best they can do when there's nothing to do but put some Vivaldi on and listen to your war subs launch torpedoes and luxuriate in the fact that you are the bad guy, that's real nice. Yes, I'm the bad guy in the high tower right now, but my god, it's also really practical to strike the first blow. The fact that all of my battles with Matt will be taking place in his factories and outposts rather than mine is far more relaxing for me. It means that my military engine is going to be operating at full strength the whole time.
Nearing the end of day 3 and I am knackered. I know earlier I played it cool. I am cool. I'm still cool. I'm still as cool as a cucumber. I mean, I'm a man who owns at least 2 pairs of sunglasses. I probably own more, but I just don't know where they are right now. And I also don't really know where my marbles are right now. This game is exhausting. So as we saw earlier, Quinn said that he wasn't going to send anything. And yeah, they send loads of stuff, but I've got a bigger force there, which means Kalhammer is probably mine in about 5 hours. I can't see anything else happening there. I can't see anything that's going to change that. He isn't just somebody who doesn't keep to his word. He is playing full-on bastard here. Full-on bastard. And I appreciate that. I get that. I think both me and Quinns were presented with a similar problem when we started this game, in the fact that everyone knows we want to win. Everyone knows we can't be trusted. And so he's decided to just go full-on villain. Whereas, as you may have worked out by now, I've decided to try and be Varys from Game of Thrones and just play a much more subtle game that actually, when required to, relies on honesty. He sent some forces from Haggai. What's he sent exactly? Loads of stuff. He's going to remove the shields, kill whoever's there, and then kill... And it's like, who's there? It's my queen. He's trying to assassinate my queen. Literally trying to assassinate my queen. Which is crazy. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to work.
Oh, f it all. Sticks, Matt's bought a tycoon. I literally just went from winning a war to losing it in the space of one tiny message popping up in Subterfuge. I am Hitler when he invaded Russia, and now I think I'm the good guy. Probably, I'm definitely the underdog, and that makes me the good guy, right? Okay, the tycoon, massive... Well, Matt's probably explained this in his diary, hasn't it?
Why is it not going to work? Well, there's a number of things going on here. I've got this amazing nippy ship. It can go 3 times faster than anything else, and I've been using it to rapidly transport troops around across the lines, and that's been a major part of it. I think people think, well, he can't fight a war on 2 fronts. Actually, I can, because I can use this ship to go and keep things supplied. Give the illusion of a bigger army than actually exists. But it's time for him to be put away, because what I'm doing here is I'm turning him into some sort of factory god, which means nippy ship flies over, goes to Sagan, and then becomes a kind of industrialist, a tycoon. Tycoons increase the production speed of all of my factories by almost 2, which means more drillers, more often. Combine that with the fact that I've got these engineers which just make more things, and my word, I've actually got a situation where I have an excess of troops. Because here's the interesting thing about this game that I've just clocked. It's a game where you need to create mines, and mines are increasingly expensive and they cost a lot of drillers, but then you also have a cap on the number of drillers you can make, which is based on the number of outposts you have. Your factories determine how many drillers you make at any one time, but the more territory you have, the more these numbers are split, and you can't build mines while the numbers are split. You need to have 100, 150 in one place, which means you have this big empire, which allows you to have more things, which allows you to make produce the things that will win you the game, and yet you can't do that, which means the only way you can actually make any real progress in this game is by having a large amount of territory and peace. You need to have peace, and that's difficult.
At this point, I have 2 choices, one of which is an immediate fighting retreat, letting Matt continue to swell like a horrible undersea anemone while I make sure he can't take any of my territory. The other option, far more my style, is to fling literally everything I have at Matt in something akin to suicide and hope it works or slows him down until the game state changes. So, I strip my southern border with Nels. He could invade me now and have my southern territories if he wants them. I strip my western border as bare as I can manage. Again, if Lee or Joe want to invade me, they just can. Basically, I'm out of this game if either Lee or Nels decide they want my territory. Scariest of all, I've flung my thief and another 40 subs out into this night. They literally might arrive to a fully defended factory with shields up. In fact, all of my specialists might get captured. But that's okay. Matt's not the only person who can promote people. Let me introduce you to the General. He makes the best use of everyone, making every single one of my specialists a dangerous little commander that blows up 10 subs before combat starts. That might be enough, but of course, the instant I get that higher, Matt's gonna get one too. Oh, yep, definitely back to feeling sick again.
Luckily, Quinn's is being attacked from all angles. We have Brat and Joe giving him hell from the south. I think Nels has been convinced as well to try and grab a piece of that pie. So really what we're seeing here from Quinn's looks like desperation. He's hoping to take out my specialists. He's hoping to cause me to have to pull back my fleet from the south. But what he doesn't realise is I've actually managed to engineer a situation here in which I have an excess of people. I have so many of these little buffs from these little specialist characters that are now giving me increased production. It means I cannot actually house all of these people. So I'm happy to lose soldiers. I'm happy to lose drillers to war because I can't house them. So, yeah.
Okay, So it turns out day 3 in Subterfuge is when everyone has so many specialists, they reach combo-licious horror potential. Brat shunted 90 subs with an engineer up my side, and he's probably explained what this does. An engineer heals 50% of the casualties each time Brat wins a fight, meaning he can creep this huge ball of drillers up my side like a giant sea slug, and oh look, what's that at the end? It's a factory and then my mine. I had an interesting chat with Brat. He formed an alliance with Joe to help crush my early lead, but due to Subterfuge's limited sonar, had absolutely no idea that I'd engaged in terrible war with Matt, that I was about to lose 100 subs in the next 18 hours, and so the players in first and second place are hammering each other right now, which is what you want. And once I told Brat that, he became far more reluctant to stab me in the back. He's cooled off now he's realised what's happening. I'm grateful for that. I'm still miserable that Paul and Pip are content to sit next to Matt and not take advantage of the fact that he's completely distracted right now. Why won't they save me? So apparently now I'm part of the nice alliance, which is Joe and Brat's alliance. Fuck me, I hope tomorrow's easier.
We'll see what happens, but frankly, I'm feeling pretty good at this at the moment. I can afford to throw a lot of things to their doom without it really affecting me that much. And there's always a chance that somebody's going to hit me with a curveball, but right now, I feel pretty confident. And I'm going to just try and chill out for a bit.
If you're enjoying watching this series, then you're almost definitely a terrible person, but thank you so much for watching. And if you'd like to talk about it, you can go to coolghost.net. There's a link in the description. And if you really love this video series, then remember that Cool Ghosts is supported via your funding at patreon.com/coolghosts. Thank you so much again for your time. Have a great day.